Hello and welcome to Friday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, and a rarity on the channel in that we've got two puzzles by Marty Sears in consecutive days. I make no excuses for that, actually, because Marty is undoubtedly one of the very, very most brilliant setters in the world of Sudoku. And the eagle-eyed amongst you will realise that I have been on holiday for the last couple of weeks down in Cornwall. If you've been watching our Minute Cryptic videos, you've probably realised that. So some of the videos that you've seen over the last couple of weeks have been pre-recorded in order that I could have a break. Anyway, I'm back now. You can see I'm sitting in the place where Maverick can bother me in my attic at home. And I've got a whole host of puzzles to work through over the coming days, in the sense that we have had just bucket loads of recommendations to try puzzles that have been released during my holidays. So I'm going to start to work through them hopefully over the coming days. And this one immediately caught my eye. Factory Loop by Marty Sears. It is an absolutely ludicrous setup, this. You can see there's just 5 things in the grid. And yet, not only are these 5 things going to enable us to draw a loop, but they're also going to enable us to fill the entire grid uniquely, apparently, which is just, I mean, it's really fantastic that this sort of thing can exist. And the rule set is surprisingly modest, given that it has a unique solution. Anyway, I think about a dozen of you have recommended this one to us, so I've no doubt it's brilliant. I found it on Logic Masters Germany. Logic Master says it's brilliant. I think it's got about a 98% rating. Only 3 stars out of 5, so hopefully not too monstrous. And we'll read the rules together in a moment or two's time. Now, other things to mention. Let me just look at my list. Firstly, this is actually the 2nd edition of Cracking the Cryptic today, because I did record a crossword video earlier on, as usual on Fridays. The puzzle today was by James McGackie, who is a brilliant clue setter. Had a bit of a sting in the tail. I won't say any more than that, but it is, if you want to improve your cryptic crossword skills, definitely check that out. I think you might enjoy it. Next, a huge thank you, actually, to all those of you who have subscribed to the channel, because while I was away, we did hit 700,000 subscribers on YouTube. That is nuts. It is nuts. I think back to the conversation I had with Mark before the channel existed, when it was just a flame in my mind's eye, when I said, "Oh, look, we could create a channel and we could solve cryptic crosswords, and it would be so popular. Don't you think that's a good idea?" And he just said, "No, it's a stupid idea." Well, who's laughing now? Because it was maybe not in that quite that form, but it has proved a little bit popular. And thanks to all of you who watch these videos. And it's only because you watch them, I think, or it's at least the main part of the reason that so many people enjoy this. It encourages the setters to make more puzzles. And that's the reason why we're getting to solve every day puzzles that are just incredible. Every single day. It really has become quite something. This whole variant Sudoku puzzle form, I think. And so thanks to all of you who support it. Now, even bigger thanks, actually, to those of you who managed to support it on Patreon, where we've just released over on Patreon the solution videos for this month's monthly reward, which was the Pet Detectives Sudoku Hunt by Panthera and by Sandra and Nala. Now, I did, because my computer's been off while I was away. It's redone the count, but you can see, if I'll reload it just in case those numbers have changed. They probably aren't going to have changed in the last. Oh, they did change. I think that top number did change. But look at this. It's nearly 1,000 solves of all the puzzles. Nearly 2,000 solves of the first puzzle. It's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Well done to all those of you who managed to get through the whole thing. That is phenomenal work, and we will draw the winner shortly. And hopefully one of you might be interested in coming onto the channel and solving a puzzle and appearing in a video. Now, next, apologies, obviously, if you've been asking for birthdays over the last couple of weeks, I haven't been able to include them in the videos. I'm going to try and work through all of the backlog. Now, I may not be able to do that in order. So the way I'm doing it is by email. So I'm thousands of emails behind. So I'm sort of working back through all of the email correspondence. So as and when I get to your request, it'll appear in a video after I've read it, if you see what I mean. But today, I'm going to say a very happy birthday to Janice, who turned the big 70 on the 21st of July. I know this because your husband Dave wrote to me, Janice, and told me you've been watching the channel every day since COVID. Good grief. Thank you so much for doing that. And I hope you had a brilliant 70th birthday with, of course, very heavily iced chocolate cake. Steph. This one might be today. Actually, I might not be late with this one. Steph, over there in Wappingers Falls, you've turned 35 today, and I know this because your husband Dan wrote to me and suggested you might like a shout out. I hope it's true, and I hope the chocolate cake is mighty fine. The next one, the 12th of July. Goodness, I'm late with this one. V, from your boyfriend. Oh, hang on, let me just check I'm reading that correctly. Is it Denani? In Austin, Texas. I hope I'm reading that correctly. If I have read it correctly, I can tell you, V, that Denani wrote that you are the most loving and supporting partner, the most caring pet mother, the funniest person in any room, the quickest learner, and the most beautiful person he's ever met. It's pretty nice, eh? It's not bad. Not bad to hear that, even if it's a bit of a late birthday wish. So many happy returns. Crystal, on the 16th of July, you turned, I don't actually know what you turned, but it was down there in Western Australia. And Glenn wrote to me asking if I could wish you happy birthday from him, obviously, and also from your daughters, Liliana and Isabella. So I hope I've got that right, and I'm sorry I'm a bit late with the wishes. And then last but not least for today, Omar turned 20. And I know this because your partner Kai wrote to me, told me that you are a computer science major over there in California. And it was your birthday on July the 11th. And I'm jolly late. Bad Simon, naughty Simon. But happy birthday, Omar. I hope you had a great 20th birthday. And I think it's probably not all the news, is it? I've probably messed up something and forgotten something very, very important. But why don't we get on? Have a look at Factory Loop by the great Marty Sears. I have to confess, I have not done a Sudoku in 2 weeks. Well, actually, no, that's not true. I've done the LinkedIn mini Sudoku. Does that really count, though? It doesn't really count as a Sudoku, I don't think. I mean, it is a Sudoku, but it's not really it's not quite the same as these wonderful puzzles that we do on the channel. So I haven't done a proper Sudoku in 2 weeks. I did have a proper break. And actually, one of the reasons I had a proper break is I got absolutely obsessed with a fantasy book series by somebody called Rebecca. Is it Rebecca Yarrow or Yarros? Anyway, the book that I started reading, a book called Fourth Wing, which I wholeheartedly recommend to you if you enjoy, in fact, whatever you enjoy, even if you don't think you like fantasy. It's a brilliant read, and I read all 3 of the books that have so far been written in that series during my holidays, so I got completely into it. It was very, very enjoyable, and I've no doubt Rebecca doesn't watch these videos, but if you do, or if anybody who knows you watches these videos, please do pass on my thanks. I still consider it to be the greatest present you can give anybody. Is a good book recommendation, because you think about how many hours of joy you get from a good book, let alone a good book series. So I hope some of you do take me up on that and enjoy that series, because I think you will. The only frustration with any fantasy series, of course, is that if it hasn't actually reached its conclusion, you then have to wait for the author to write the next novel, which is a little bit frustrating, but only really, really frustrating if you're following the George R.R. Martin Game of Thrones series. Anyway, I've got distracted again. Let's look at the rules to Marty's puzzle. Factory Loop. Normal Sudoku rules apply. So we're going to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3 by 3 box. Now, what else do we have to do? Draw a loop, one cell wide, that moves orthogonally between cells. So what does an orthogonal movement mean? It means a movement across an edge. So it does not mean that movement. That is a movement that only sort of is across a vertex. So a movement in a cardinal direction, we could say north, south, east, or west. All of these sorts of things would be legitimate. That could be the loop that we're trying to draw. 2 loop cells may only touch orthogonally if they are directly connected along the loop. 2 loop cells may only touch diagonally where they are either side of a corner cell along the loop, i.e. the loop doesn't touch itself. Good grief, that's a very complicated way of saying that. Right, yes, well, we've done lots of loop puzzles on the channel. Normally, this sort of rule is expressed as the loop must not touch itself, which, I can see actually, if the loop is 1 cell wide, it is a difficult rule to write, because if the loop turns down here, for example, what Marty's saying is the next cell on the loop could not be this one. Because the loop here, these 2 cells would touch along the loop, yet they wouldn't be connected along the loop, because the loop would have gone round this corner. So, yeah, but it is true to so I would say the loop couldn't touch itself, because it would touch itself if it went there. And similarly with this diagonal rule, I think that's saying the same thing. So, how are we going to say that? So what we're saying there is that the loop couldn't do. Oh, whoopsie. Press the wrong button there. It couldn't. That's not possible, because let's read the rule again. 2 loop cells can only touch diagonally, or these 2 touch diagonally, where they are either side of a corner cell along the loop. 2 loop cells may only touch diagonally. Oh gosh, I've misinterpreted it. What I've said is correct, but now I've understood what that means. Yeah, so these 2 do touch diagonally, but they are either side of this vertex, so that's allowed. These 2 touch diagonally, they are not either side of a corner cell. Oh, that's a really, really weird way of expressing that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'll be able to come up with a better way of doing it that's simpler, but I think we can summarize it as saying the loop cannot touch itself, not even diagonally. And I know for some people that's a slightly strained way of describing the rule, but that's probably simpler. Anyway, what else do we have to do? A green circle is on the loop, and its digit indicates the number of cells in its box that are on the loop. Right, so whatever we put into that cell is firstly on the loop, and secondly, let's say that was a 5, then we'd be saying that I don't know if this is possible, but that, for example, could be how the loop looked. And there would be, and then they would be all the cells. So it's red. All the cells on the loop in this box. So there are 5 cells on the loop as it said, and then the loop would continue like that. Now, let's get rid of all this nonsense and read the next rule. A red square is not on the loop, and its digit indicates the number of cells in its box that are not on the loop. So, okay, so if that was is this solving? This might prove to be correct. If that was 5, that means this would be a 4. Because if that's a 5 cells on the loop in this box, that must be a 4, because there would be 4 cells not on the loop. There are 9 cells in any box, so it's sort of a zero-sum game, so to speak. Right. Oh, okay. And we're nearly at the end of the rules, which is bizarre. But there is only one more paragraph. It says, for any two neighbouring cells along the loop, dividing one by the other gives an exact integer. So one is a multiple of the other. Okay, so if those two were on the loop, and this was a 3, then this could be a 6, or a 9, or a 1. And maybe that's all. Couldn't be a 2, could it? Because these, whichever way you divide that, you don't get an exact integer. 4 doesn't work, 5 doesn't work, 7 doesn't work, 8 doesn't work. So I think the options for that cell would be 1, 6, 9. That's how I think the rule works. Do have a go. I mean, isn't it bizarre that that rule set is going to completely specify this grid given these positions of some funny circles and squares? I think it's and I didn't understand the title, but I just have. Factory loop. That's a great pun, actually, because it's not saying anything about factories as in mills and things like that, or plant and machinery. It's something that has factors could be described as factory if we were sort of adjectivizing it or something. Anyway, I think that's what it means. Do have a go. The way to play, as usual, is to click the link under the video. But now I get to play for the first time in a couple of weeks. Let's get cracking. So the first thing is these green ones are on the loop, aren't they? So we have lime or dark. See, red-green colour blindness is a thing, isn't it? So I should probably... Maybe I'll make those purple. So we'll have purple for off the loop and lime green for on the loop, and hopefully that'll be distinct. Now this is on the loop, and it's a loop, so it must be a corner, mustn't it? So those have to be on the loop, and the loop can't touch itself, so this cell can't be on the loop, or these two diagonal cells would touch, and that's not going to work. So that cell is off the loop, which means, or to put it another way, rather than do the diagonal thing, those two would touch each other and yet wouldn't be adjacent along the loop unless that was the complete loop. And then these wouldn't be on the loop, which also wouldn't work. So it definitely doesn't work. So anyway, these go. This goes here. That's just all forced. So this is, I know it's not necessarily a 5. It can't be a 5, can it? It can't be a 5 because of the factor rule. Well, it can't be a 7. I think that's got to be a 6 in the corner. Right. Okay. So what we should do is take a brief excursion away from the loop. And let's just think about this factor rule for a moment. Because I think there are some problems here, or there are some restrictions. So if we think about, it's not like a German whispers restriction, but some digits, in the panoply of digits 1 to 9, 5 and 7 are very difficult in this puzzle to put on the loop. Why do I say that? Well, firstly, they're both prime. Secondly, any multiple of 5 and 7 is beyond the Sudoku number. So 10s and 14s and things are not relevant. So the only digits you can put on the loop, the only times you could put 5 and 7 on the loop in this puzzle is if they are next to 1. That's the only way that's going to work. So that's why I'm saying this can't be a 5, because these would have to both be 1s. That won't work. But I just want to think a bit more about this. Can we just spend another minute? So 5 and 7 are difficult, but not impossible, because you could have, let's say you had that. That would work, wouldn't it? These ones don't see each other by Sudoku. So I think I'm not saying 5 and 7 can't be on the loop, I'm saying that if they are on the loop, it's difficult, but not impossible. But certainly not here, where the two sides of the loop on either side see one another. Now, what about which other digits are difficult? 2 is not difficult, because 2 can be multiplied to 4, to 6, to 8, and go with 1 itself. So 2 is very simple. 3 can go with 1, obviously. 6 and 9. So that's not terribly difficult. 4 can go with 8 or 2 or 1. So that's not difficult. 6 can go with 2 or 3 or 1. No, it can't be a multiple, can it? Because that would be 12. So 2, 3. So 6 can go with 1, 2, and 3. 8. No, 8 can go with 1, 2, and 4. And 9 can go with 1. So 9, I think, after 5 and 7, which are sort of the super difficult ones, 9 is the next most difficult because it only has 1 and 3 it can go with. 5 and 7 only have 1. 9 has 1 and 3. 6 might be the next one after that, which can only go with 1, 2, and 3. And then there's sort of... No, because 3 can go with 6, 9, and 1, I think. Which I suppose, okay, so 3 and 6 are sort of the same in terms of the number of digits that they can be partnered up with. 1 can go with anything, and then 2, 4, and 8 can basically go with, well, no, 2 is the most flexible because it can go with 6. 4 and 8 can go with each other and 1s and 2s. Yeah, okay, so 1 and 2 are the most flexible digits. Right, sorry. Anyway, we've got we took an excursion, but I think that has been helpful because it's sort of, well, firstly, what is that digit? It's definitely not 5 for the reasons we said. Actually, that's the way of ruling out 7. We could rule out 7 by noting that 7 would require the loop to branch, which it's not allowed to do. So this has to be 6. It can't be 5 because that would be surrounded by double 1. It's a minimum of 5, so it is 6, which means this is 3 because we know that there are 9 cells in this box. And this can't be on the loop because then the loop would branch. So this is on the loop, and that is a lovely cell to be on the loop because that is a corner of the loop. So that is now something we can draw in, which means this is off the loop. Okay, so I'm sort of seeing how, just those two actually has specified a lot of this upper area. Ah, 6. We said when we did our little aid memoir, 6 went with 1, 2, and 3, and 3 is gone. So this has to be a 1, 2 pair. So these two digits, I see 1 can go with anything and 2 can basically go with anything. So, well, not everything, but lots of things. So actually, that's annoying, isn't it? No, 5 and 7, do they have to be there? Oh no, they don't. That could be a 5 or a 7. Because those could be double 1. Ah, that's annoying. I don't know what to do then. Wow. So that's bizarre. That's absolutely bizarre. There's no restriction on that, is there? Don't think there is. I mean, well, it's at least, I suppose it is more than 2, because this has to extend. I mean, this could go here, and that could be a 3. But if that goes down, then this would have to go down, and then that's at least a 4. No, it would be at least a 5 then, actually. It couldn't be a... No, it could be a 5 if those are double 1. No, because this can't be a 1, because this is a 1-2 pair. Oh, okay, right. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pencil mark those 2 cells, because they can't be 5 or 7, because they would be surrounded by double 1 on the loop. So they are restricted. They can't be 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, or 7. So they are 4, 8, or 9, I think. Now, so, well, whichever one of these is 2 can't go with 9. There's no... The red squares don't do anything other than just say... Yeah, they just say how many cells in their box are not on the loop. We've only got 2 red squares. And this digit... So these 2 have to be in a multiplying relationship or factoring relationship. And that digit is at least a 3, isn't it? Can't be a 2, because then this would have to... These would be the only 2 cells in box 4 that were on the loop. So it's at least a 3. So it's 3, 4. It can't be 5, because then this would have to be 1. It can't be 6. It can't be 7, because if this was 7, this would have to be 1 again. Now, can it be 8? It can't be 8. No, it can't be 8. Because if it was 8, you'd be saying 8 cells in this box are on the loop. Well, yeah, I could see a way 8 cells in a box are on the loop like that. That's the only way you could do it, without the loop touching itself somewhere. But obviously that is not a valid loop in this box. That won't work, because then that cell wouldn't be on the... I mean, there's so many reasons it won't work. It's not even worth going into it. But that's definitely not 8, and it's definitely not 9. So that is tiny, 3 or 4, which means this can't be 4. If that's 4, this won't be in a multiple with it. So this is this 8 or 9, which works both ways, doesn't it? If this is 3, this can be 9. If this is 4, this can be 8. Okay, but now... Well, okay, now this doesn't go downwards, because if that goes downwards, this has to extend, and it would have to go extend downwards, wouldn't it? So if this goes down, this can't stop, so it has to go down, and now this has to go somewhere, and wherever it goes, this is now 5, so that won't work. So this has to turn in. So these cells now, all of those cells are off the loop, otherwise the loop would touch itself at that corner. And, okay, this cell is off the loop, because that would be a corner of the loop, and that would make this have 5 greens, so that's off the loop. I'm going to do exactly the same trick there. That's got to be off the loop, or those would be in. So that's off the loop. This one... That one probably is on the loop, isn't it? That's probably on the loop, and that's going to be a 4. I say that just because... There's got to be some way of specifying box 7. And how are you ever going to do that if the loop doesn't go in there? Oh, so actually, hang on. If that's not on the loop, maybe the loop can't do that. Ooh. Actually, I don't know. No, I'm not sure. I wondered whether I could disprove... Well, I could... I'm not even sure what I'd be disproving, but that looked quite difficult. Would be difficult, actually. If all those were on the loop, where would you put 5 and 7 in column 1? Because you couldn't put them in any of those cells, because they would be surrounded by double 1s. So they'd have to be there. Maverick. How I've missed you. Okay. So what? Oh! Hang on. Look here now. This is where we should look here. This cell can't be on the loop, because that would create a loop in the top left without this cell being on it. So that's not on the loop. So the loop's got to do those two things. It still can't close. We've got to keep it apart. It's still this cell can't be on the loop, or the loop would have to close because it can't touch itself. So that's got to be doing something. So, I mean, well, where are 5 and 7 in the top row? They definitely can't be in any of those cells because, again, they'll be surrounded because they have two neighbours in the same row. They'd be surrounded by double 1. So they've got to be in those cells. I don't know whether this one can be. If that's 5 or 7. Can you put double? No, because that would be double 1. Yeah, if that's 5, the loop has to turn because otherwise this would be double 1. So this would be double 1, and neither of those could be 1. That doesn't work. So 5 and 7 are they're shuffled into the corner here. Now, does that mean that this has to turn downwards? Yes, it does. Because if this is green now, again, it will have to turn down because it has to be surrounded by double 1, but that double 1 will be in the same box. That won't work. So that's off the loop, which means this is off the loop. This loop turns down. Don't let the loop touch itself. So that's got to be not a loop cell. The loop's now going down here. Now, don't know. What was the other difficult digit to put on the 9 was the other difficult digit, wasn't it? 9 could only be next to 1 and 3. Yeah, okay. So this isn't 9. That's tricky, though. That's quite difficult. Yeah, one way to think about this might be you've got sort of a family of digits, what I'll call 1, 2, 4, 8. They're sort of a family of digits that can all very comfortably sit next to each other. Or most of them can sit next to each other. I mean, I suppose you could say... No, I mean, that is fair. 1, 2, 4, 8 are sort of a family, aren't they? But then 3, 6, 9 are well, 3 and 9 are definitely in a family. And 6, yes, 6 is a digit that could belong to the 2. It could provide a bridge to the 1, 2, 4, 8 family because it has got a relationship with 2. And 1 could provide a bridge to the 2, 4, 8 family from the 3, 6, 9 family. But there has to be a bridge. If you're going to try and put, if we think of the 3's family being 3, 6, 9, and think of the 2's family being 2's, 4's, 8's, you can see this top row has members of both family in it, because 5 and 7 are the only digits missing. So we have to have bridges going on. Yeah, I don't think that's particularly well explained, but or to put it a different way, then let's put it a different way. If that's 9, yes, 9 is fine. It can be surrounded by 1 and 3. But now we've got to put 2's, 4's, and 8's in this row. And the only digit that can work as the bridge is a 1, which is going to be here, or a 6, which is there. So this definitely cannot be 9. So does that have to be 9? That's probably not true. So I've said that without much faith in it. I mean, we do have to put 9 in here. Well, yeah, I mean, 3 and 9 are going to have to be together in this row now because they are in the green. Well, Yeah, and 3 hasn't got 6 available to it. So if 3 was in the middle of the row, it would have to be surrounded by 1 and 9. If 9 is in the middle of the row, it has to be surrounded by 1 and 3. So how can this ever be 1? I don't think it can be. If this is a 1, I could make this 3 or 9, but the other of 3 and 9 would be in these cells, and it would have to, it couldn't exist. It wouldn't have enough factors to surround it. So I think this has to be 2. This has to be 1. I don't think that's going to tell me what these digits are. But now, whichever of 3 and 9 is in the middle of the row is going to be surrounded by 1 and the other of 3 and 9. So I see. But then we've got the problem that we've got the 2, 4, 8 family and the 1, 3, 9 family in this row, and yet they have to be in a relationship. We've got to tie those families together. How are we going to do that? The only digit now 6 isn't available. The only digit that can provide the bridge is the digit 1. So the 1 has to be in the middle. This is going to be 4, 8, and this is going to be 3, 9. And unfortunately, I don't think we're going to know how that settles down, or which is the ordering. But now this can't be 5 or 7, because this would have to be a 1. So this is 5 and 7, and this digit is 4, 8, or 9. So if now I've got it. Right, now this can't be 9. Because if this was 9, what would this be? We said earlier, only 1s and 3s go with 9s. This is really clever, isn't it? So this is 3, and 3 does work. Actually, 3 could go, this could be 6 or 9 now. So 3 is very flexible. I mean, no, I will stop here and just say this is ridiculous, because I've basically used a lot of the clues here, and I haven't actually got that much done. I have got stuff done, but I haven't got that much done. Okay, so what about that digit? No, because that could be anything. That could still be 1. This is maybe it's these then. That can't be 3 now. But I mean, that could be anything. Anything is probably overstating it very slightly. Why couldn't it be 7? Oh, maybe it couldn't be 7 because of the funny rule about no, it probably couldn't be 7 because I think it would have to be that shape. But it could probably be 6 or any number below that. I think it could be 4, 5, or 6 very easily. That one is counting how many cells in this box are not on the loop. But in box 1 we had the 6 and the 3, so we knew they added up to 9. We don't have that luxury here. We know this isn't a 1, but that's not very surprising. Is it Sudoku then? Have I missed? It can't be much Sudoku. There's a 1 in one of those, 3 in one of those. Fives and 7s. Can you? No. Okay. What we can do is look at that digit. That digit has to find a home in this box, and I don't think it can be on the loop, because we know if this digit, 5 or 7, is in one of those 2 cells, it will have to have a 1 adjacent to it, which means one of these would be a 1, which it can't be. So that digit's actually there. That's not 3 then. And this one is just going to go in one of those, and we don't know which one. And 3, okay, so if this was 3, that one would be tricky, wouldn't it? No, because it can be 6. Bobbins. Oh, well, no, that is interesting. That is interesting. Okay, so right, I've got it. Because 3, what we said about 3 is it can go with 1, that's fine. It can go with 6, and it can go with 9. Now, what else could it go with? Nothing. It can't go with 1 or 9 in these cells, so this is a 3-6 pair. And now, if this was a 6, it couldn't be. Because if this was 6, what would this digit be? 4, 8, and 9 are not in a factoring relationship. So that's got to be the 3. And that's got to be a 6. And that's therefore a 9, which is lovely. Now this is an 8 apparently, and that's a 4, and that's an 8. And this 8 means this is a 4, and that 4 is beautiful because that then tells us that this is on the loop, and we get a corner of the loop down here, which mustn't touch itself. The loop must come here. It's Marty doing Marty things, isn't it? Now we've got, right, these digits now are 1, 2, 4 by Sudoku. I mean, it is outrageous to be made to do Sudoku in Sudoku puzzles. That's 6, 8, 9, which, can that go there? Surely not. How would that work? If this one goes there, there's no factoring relationship possible, so that doesn't work. So this is now off the loop comes down here. This can't be on the loop, because that would be making the loop touch itself, which would close the loop and force a second loop. So that's off the loop, which means the loop comes down there. All of these now are off the loop to stop the loop touching itself. Oh, this is lovely. And now, how does the loop get from here to here? Given that this is off the loop, it must take all of those cells. It just must do that. That means this is off the loop. So what is this? It's not 6. So this, because of Sudoku, and it would be 6 if that was purple. So that's on the loop must turn, that closes the loop, so all of those become purple, and this is a 5. It's breathtaking. And now is the first point where, I'm starting to believe, I suppose, that this, that can't be 4. 4 is not in a relationship with 6 or 9. And this digit is 1, 2, no, it's not 2, 1 or 8 then. And that's got to, okay, and this digit, this is a 1. It can't be 3. So that's 1, that's 8, and that's 4, and that's all finished. Now 6, 6 can go with 1, 2, or 3. So this is 2 or 3. Okay, but that's still slightly concerning, isn't it? Wow, all right. If that is bizarre. That is absolutely bizarre, because I thought it was just going to collapse then. I'm stopped again. I don't know what to do. This is, the loop's emerged into this circle. And obviously to get out of box 9, this is at least a 3, which it can't be. So that's at least a 4. Now, I'm not sure whether it can be 5 and have 1 here and 1 here. 6, 7. 7 I don't think will work. Although we could have put 7 cells on the loop, I think the only way it would work, given it would have to be surrounded by double 1, is to go up and round like this, and it would get isolated in the corner. So I think this is 4, 5, or 6, but okay. All right, I'm going to be forced to do Sudoku now because I can't see how to do this. 1 is in one of those. So 5 and 7 in box 4. I don't think they can both be here. Because if they were both there, one of these would be 5 or 7, which couldn't be this one. So it would have to be this one and surrounded by double 1, which doesn't work. So this is not both 5 and 7. This can't be 5 or 7, this cell here, because this would be a 1. So that is a 5 or a 7, and one of these is a 5 or a 7. Okay, but what that means, because one of these is 5 or 7, whichever one of these is 5 or 7 has to find a home in column 3. And I don't think, for the reasons I've said, it can be in either of those cells. So that cell is 5 or 7, which means 8 is on the loop here. And 8, this is good. Right, what are we going to put this 8 with? 8 can go with 1s, 2s, and 4s. 1 and 4 are not available, so 8 here can go with 2 only, so it can't be there because it would be surrounded by double 2. So 8's got to go there. This has got to be a 2. This digit now is if I haven't gone wrong, that's a 6 by Sudoku. Now 6 can go with 1, 2, and 3, so this is 1 or 2. Bother. Oh, 8 can go with 1, 2, and 4. Bother. 2 is in one of those cells by Sudoku. 6 is in one of these cells by Sudoku. And all we've got to do now, he said somewhat hopelessly, is work. If that was 3, this would have to be 9, would it? It couldn't be 1 and it couldn't be 6. So this would be 9. And then what would that be? 3, 9, nothing. That would have no fill. So that's got to be 2, which means this is 1. Now, if this is 2, that allows us to bridge across, look, into the 2, 4, 8 family now. So I think that's 4 or 8. And then this digit is also therefore 4 or 8 because it can't be 1 or 2. So that's a 4, 8 pair. And maybe now where we're meant to look is column 5, where we need 3, 7, and 9. Well, yeah, we definitely can't put 7 in the middle of the loop here because it would be surrounded by double 1. That's not a 9 by Sudoku. Oh, or a 3. That is a 7. So, oh, that's a 3, 9 pair then. Oh, but that's got to be difficult. Yeah, that's very good. 9 here would have to be surrounded by 1 and 3 again. But this would be a 3 if this was a 9. So this is a 3, this is a 9. 3 is okay because that can go with 1 and 6. Okay, and I know the order. So that's 1, that's 6. And one of those is a 6. One of these is a 1 by Sudoku. Nothing more complicated than that. And this is a 2. Can't be 4 because it wouldn't be in the correct relationship with the 6. So I only need 4, 7, 8 now. 8, where's 8? In box thingy, box 7. So these are 4 and 7. Probably Sudoku tells me which way around they go, but I can't see how to. Oh, no, I still don't see. 5 then is in one of those 2 cells. This one doesn't help me with this digit, does it? Which, oh, I'll tell you what, it can't be 6 though. So that's a little bit better. Doesn't stop this being 5 either. If that's 5, it would work if that's a 1. Bother. Okay. Wow. Wow. Okay, what are those 2 digits then? 2 and... Oh, 2. I haven't put 2 in this box. That's good. So that's 2 and that's 4. And that's 5 and that's 7. And that's 4 and that's 7. That's better. Right, what are these digits then? 5 and 9. So these digits are 3, 6 and 7. The Sudoku's working, I think. But we still have a little bit of thinking to do to work out how to close the loop up. What do you think we do next? It's a rhetorical question, and the answer is I haven't got a clue. Oh no, that doesn't quite work. I was wondering whether that could be a 4, because 4 could go with 1, 2, or 8. So maybe this is always a 1, whether this is 5 or 4. That feels right. Or is there anything easier, more? What if that... No, if that was a 2, that would be interesting in terms of whether it could go down. No, because it could go down into 6, actually. Oh, okay. If this was 4... Or... Oh, that can't be 1 or 6 by Sudoku. So that's a 1-6 pair in the box. So 4... Well, that's good. Okay, so I was slightly worried about that implicate. I was thinking if that was 4... Oh, no, and it was wrong as well. Because if that was 4, I could have gone there with an 8. Ooh, I think I dodged one there. Anyway, it doesn't matter now because this 4 has to go there. And that makes this a 5. And now there is no possibility of this going here because this would have to be a 1. So the loop does turn. This is now out of bounds. So that's out of bounds. 5 cells in this box have to be on the loop. This is now a 7. That's a 5. That's a 5. That's a 9. What about these digits then? 3, 9 and 3. That's great. And well, not quite great, but pretty good. And then these are 2 and something. 2 and 7. Okay, 2, 7. These are 3, 9, and 5. So that's a 9 in the corner. And this is a 3, 5 pair, I think, which we can do. So that's 5, that's 3. This is 1, this is 6. The bottom is actually starting to behave itself. 2 and 8 in the bottom right-hand corner. What are those digits? 7, 9. And these digits are 3, 4, 6. But the 1 can go with anything. Oh, but okay, the 1 can't go... Oh, no, that's wrong as well. Oh, well, the 1 can't go into a 7 there, that's true. But could it go into a 9 if this was a 3? Possibly. Ah, that's not a 3. So that digit is 4 or 6. Nine, 3. Oh, good grief, it could do that. It could go 9. I was then going to say the 5 wouldn't work, but it could go 9, 3, 6. Oh. bobbin. That's a 2. Right, okay, so 2 here has to go with 6, not 9. So these are now 1. Again, 1 is available here, so that's not a good thing. This is a 6 now, so this is a 4. So these are 3 and 6. So if I go up there, yeah, I see. Right. So then the 5 is crucial now, because if to get to 5 green cells in this box, we say that the next green cell is here, then where do we go? We can't go to here because that's not in a factoring relationship with 4. So we'd have to leave the box, and then we can never get back in the box, because to get it back in the box and do a turn is going to require that the loop touches itself. So this is not on the loop, and the loop does go there, which is great, because now we know this isn't a 7. So that's 9, that's 7. The 7 is definitely off the loop, so now we know the cells that we're taking in here. So we have to wiggle our way through like this and keep going. The 9 can't be in a relationship with the 6. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant, this. But Marty must have just almost said eureka when he worked out this could be done with this few clues. Right, these digits are 7, 8, 9 by Sudoku. And the 9 therefore goes here. These digits, that's a 3, naked single. It's got, from the row, it's 3, 6, or 7, and it sees 6, 7 in the column. So this is 6 or 7. This digit has to be in a factoring relationship with 3, so we know it's 2 actually, because it can't be 1 or 3, and we worked out that 1, 2, and 3 were the options right at the start of the video. So this is now 3. This is now 7, this is 8, this is 8, this is 4, this is 5. 5, 7, 6 now. So 6, 7 into these cells. Oh, how classic. Okay, and I'm left with a 1, 4 deadly pattern that's somehow going to be resolved by the loop. Well, we can't go to that 7. That 7 is out of bounds because it would be surrounded by double 1 in the box. This, 2 can go with 1 or 4. Okay, the 2 can't go with this 9, so that is off the list. That's definitely not the next cell on the loop. The loop goes here. Now, whichever one of these... 4. If we were to put 4... No, I'm wrong, actually. I suspect these have to be double 1. I mean, I can see it would work if it goes 1, 3, 6, 1. So that's what I think it's going to do. So if it was 4, 4, why doesn't that work? Yeah, the 4 always gets trapped. Oh, it's really clever, actually. I'll have to show you this. But so there's 2 possible ways this works at this point. Either this is double 4, these 2 cells, or they're double 1. Now, they're going to be double 1. Let me show you why. If they're double 4, what happens is the 4 can't go with the 3 or the 6. So the only way that the 4 can continue is to go into the 1s that now are either side of it. But can you see what's happened to the loop now? It's got stranded. It's going to have to go up here onto the 6 and down here onto 3, both of which are completely legitimate from the 1s, and the 3 and the 6 are completely legitimate, but the loop is touching itself all over the place in this box. It just is too constraining. So what you're going to do instead is 1s here, 4s here, and now if you go into the 4s, you can't move at all, so you mustn't. And then you drop down and you slide along the 6-3 pair. I mean, that is phenomenal. That is it must be right, mustn't it? I mean, it had to be. Phenomenal. Marty again. What a puzzle. What a ridiculous miracle that is that exists. Good grief. Wow. Welcome back, Simon. Let me know in the comments how you got on with the puzzle. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.